Hello, everybody. Tim Hughes here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. I'm here using the power of technology with Michael Haynes. And Michael is, for me, the other side of the world, like 12,000 miles away. It is just amazing. And anyway, we're going to be talking about the new playbook for B2B buyer growth. Michael, where can people find you?
So best place people can find me, actually, I would say is go to LinkedIn. I'm very active here on LinkedIn, putting out lots of content, and you can find out what events I'm doing, like the Ask Michael Anything sessions and the various other things that I'm doing. So come to my LinkedIn page first stop. Second place would be listeninnovategrow.com, which is my website.
Listeninnovateandgrow.com.
Listeninnovategrow.com. No and.
No and. Okay, good. Excellent. So, Michael, good to talk to you. So the B2B buyer, has anything really changed?
Yes, quite a bit has changed, Tim. So B2B buyers who are looking to, those decision makers looking to buy products and services. I do a lot of work on the services end of things with professional service firms. Those B2B buyers are looking to buy those accounting, law, technology services. They're undertaking lots of research, Tim, and they're doing it on their own time and in their own ways. And so they're doing it online, they're doing research online, they're going to events, being in person or online, they're joining mastermind groups, they're joining communities, they're tapping into their networks. And they're doing a lot of this research independently before they want to talk to any salespeople. Also, what has changed, Tim, is that B2B buyers are looking very much for trusted, independent third-party sources. So it's not enough to have all your great things on your website. They're going to go to their trusted sources, be it industry experts, industry professional associations, their communities, their business groups, mastermind groups, or their business partners. They're tapping into their own trusted sources to get what I call AIR, advice, insights, and recommendations for their key priorities and objectives.
So what you're saying is that the way that we buy things in the past, the way that we bought things, there was no internet. Therefore, the only way that you could find out about things was actually by people contacting you. Whereas now we've got an infinite amount of information, and the first thing that we do whenever we want to buy stuff is we reach for one of these.
Absolutely, Tim. And you were reaching there, and you might go to various places. You might go online to do a Google search. You may be going onto social media and checking out what the various industry experts are saying. So they're undertaking a number of different sources and different activities, both online as well as offline, and activities that you cannot necessarily track, but they're undertaking these activities to gain a point of view, identify solutions, identify service providers, and they want to do this independently before they speak to any form of any sales representative from a particular product or service provider.
Because we know that salespeople are going to try and sell us something, don't we?
Yes, and so they will try, and even when a salesperson will approach a B2B buyer, they may, acknowledge and take their business card or what have you, but they're still going to do their own research, going online, talking to their peers. They might tap into their next, mastermind group session and talking to some of their peers there, going for their industry professional associations. So they'll still do lots of research on their own, and then when it suits them, they will then come back to having a meeting and starting the conversation with those respective salespeople, representatives from those product and service provider organizations.
One of the things that I wrote down when we had our prep call, Michael, was something that you said, which really resonated with me. And wonder you could dig into this, which is you said it's not enough to be customer driven; you need to be buyer driven. What do you mean by that?
Yes. Tim, it's so important. So we have to remember that we are B2B, so if you're selling, my clients deal with accounting services, legal services, IT services, transportation, and we're selling to other organizations. It's not enough to understand the organization. So for example, let's say you're an IT consulting firm and you want to get into, let's say, British Airways digital transformation unit. It's not enough to understand the customer British Airways. We have to understand who are the decision makers within that digital transformation strategy unit that we're trying to sell into. We need to understand who are those people, what are their priorities, and Tim, how do they buy? Because that will define what your go-to-market strategy needs to be. Notice I did not say marketing strategy, I said go-to-market strategy. So
Yes.
we must get down to that buyer level and understanding those three key questions, and that will give us clarity and direction in terms of the way forward.
Because I guess if we're in if we're British Airways and we're looking to buy something, it's probably going to be something that's going to cost quite a lot. So we're going to be looking for something. We're going to be looking for somebody who's an expert in that.
Absolutely, Tim. Your B2B buyers are going to be looking for experts. Expertise is the number one thing that B2B buyers are looking for, and they want that depth of the expertise. So that and what they're looking for from their product and service providers are things like, help me to identify new market opportunities. What are the best practices and the solutions to take the way forward? Help me navigate through all the noise that's out there. All these experts are telling me I should do X, Y, and Z. Help me navigate as to what makes sense given my situation, my priorities, and what is the way forward. Connect me with peers and experts as well. These are the kinds of things that your B2B buyers are looking for. They're looking for trusted advisors and partners. And so we have to be making sure that in terms of our go-to-market, that we are cognizant, again, of understanding who the decision maker is, what are their priorities, and then providing them with that advice, insights, and recommendations around best practices, solutions, what's going to be the roadmap. These are the things that B2B buyers are looking for, and that's how you're going to be effective in making them want to buy from you.
So when I worked in corporate and I was a salesperson, we also had pre-sales people who were experts. Are you saying that the salespeople need to be experts and be seen as experts, as well as maybe an expert that we may bring into meetings?
Absolutely. The whole sales in B2B has changed fundamentally. Salespeople, first of all, marketing and sales have to be working together, not just in alignment. They need to be working together, but both have to have that depth of expertise by industry, by companies, and understanding the buying committee, buying group. So your business development people, because in a professional services context, marketing and sales are very much together. And I talk from a business development perspective, we have to have that depth. We have to have that depth of expertise, and that means marketing and salespeople have to be strategists, advisors, change management instigators, collaborators. It's a whole different playing field now that is expected by virtue of how business buyers buy.
So what you're saying is that regardless of whether you're in sales, you're in marketing, or you're in some sort of sales support function, you need to be positioning yourself online as some sort of subject matter expert.
You have to be, a subject matter expert in the areas that matter to those, key clients and prospects that you're currently serving and seeking to serve. Absolutely. And it's not just online. You have to be living in the market, full stop. You have to understand your buyers. How do they buy? Where are they getting their research? Where are they getting their advice, insights, and recommendations? Who are they deeming as partners? What events, being an online, in person? What are those groups, communities? And we have to be immersed in those areas where they're going for advice, insights, and information, so we can be visible, we can deliver value to them.
So one of the things you talked about at the beginning, and this is your three-letter acronym, your TLA, which is AIR, which is that people are looking for advice, insights, and recommendations. Have I got that right?
Yes, exactly. That is what you're.
Talk us through that, Michael.
So yes, again, so you're a B2B buyer, so those decision makers and those influencing the decision. And in a B2B context, so when you're selling your services to those organizations, it's going to be a number of individuals that are going to be involved. Even if it's SME to SME, there'll be more than one individual involved. And they're looking for things like advice on, how to address those key challenges and priorities that they're looking to address. They want advice around, what market opportunities they should be pursuing. They want insights on things such as insights around the industry, geographic markets, and customers that they're serving. What are the developments? What are the trends that are going on? What are the economic conditions? They need to be, best practices. They want to know those insights so they can be on the pulse to make those key decisions about how to move forward. They're looking for recommendations around strategies, solutions, what should be the right strategies for market entry, developing solutions, with whom should they be collaborating and working with. So again, it's all about advice, insights, recommendations to help decision makers get that clarity and understand what's the right roadmap for their organization to take their business forward. So everything that we do in our go-to-market needs to be buyer driven. So based on those individuals knowing who they are, what are their priorities, how they buy, what are their key challenges, giving them advice, insights, recommendations, tools to help them move forward. Because that's ultimately what they're looking for, is trusted advisors and partners to help them meet their objectives.
And I guess it kind of makes sense that if I'm running a business, I run a business. I'm not looking for someone to come and sell me a product. I'm looking for somebody that's going to say, these are what other companies in your markets challenges that they're facing, and therefore we think that this would be a fit for you.
Absolutely. It's about identifying, understanding what are their priorities, what are they looking to do, helping them to navigate through all the noise. So expert X says this, expert Y says that, but given what you're looking to do, actually this is the way forward, and this is the solution that you need. And from a product, service, operational perspective, this is how you might, pull the right solution together, and this is going to be your roadmap of how you would execute. These are the kinds of things that decision makers, your B2B decision makers and buyers are looking for.
And so how does the business go about creating an air strategy based around the advice, insight, and recommendation?
So yeah, so it's all about creating your buyer driven go-to-market strategy. So this is your full end-to-end on how you're going to be taking your products and solutions to market, to acquire those clients, retain them, grow them, and ultimately drive revenue and drive growth for your business. So the starting point is what you need to be doing is what I call listening, Tim. And you need to be listening on 3 levels. You need to be listening to you as the organization, so the leaders within the organization. What are your goals, objectives, priorities? What are the strengths of your company, to use that IT consulting example? What are our strengths, our capabilities in terms of the kinds of services we offer, for whom we're offering them, where have we had our wins and successes, having an understanding of that and where we want to go with the business. Then it's about listening to the market. So this is about really doing your industry market analysis to really understand, the markets and industries, those verticals you currently serve, seek to serve, how are they doing? What are the key developments, key trends? What are your competitors doing? So really having an understanding of those industries and geographic markets. Then it's about listening to the customer, for which again, Tim, we have to not just understand at an organizational level in terms of objectives, priorities, how the organization is doing. We have to know for our relevant product and service offer, we need to know the buyers, again, in terms of who are those buyers, what are their priorities, and how do they buy. So it's by pulling all of that listening, so doing all that analysis, bringing all of that together, that will then help you determine where you should have your focus, Tim, in terms of what industries, what geographic markets, what kinds of organization that you should be focusing on. And then you'll start to then be looking at, well, what do you need to do to deliver, to acquire and retain those clients that you're looking to have. And then that's when we'll talk about, your demand creation activities to attract and acquire those buyers, those organizations. But it all starts off with that listening to really have an understanding around both your organization internally, as well as your industry and geographic markets, and then that customer buyer level analysis, depth of understanding. That's a starting point to take everything forward.
I was talking to somebody yesterday about exactly this, and they had an experience that they'd set up a company in the past, and they'd got very excited about the technology, and it just so happened that Volkswagen VW was one of their clients, and they went to see the client one day, and they were talking about the front end and dashboards and stuff, and the VW guy actually turned around and said, that's really interesting, but it's actually the back end, which is, it actually saves me, I have 3 people and it takes them 3 days to do this, and now it only takes them a day, and that's really important because I can get them to focus on other things. And what happened was that the people, he said that until that moment, they'd got their value proposition completely wrong. And in fact, it was only after they were talking to clients that they actually were able to find out exactly what their value proposition was.
So, Tim, you've raised something that comes up all the time, that listening to the buyers, having those discussions, talking with your buyers, that is probably the #1 form of research that needs to be done in this environment now more than ever. Identifying who are those decision makers, those influencing the decision, and having those kinds of strategic, in-depth discussions to understand needs, priorities, challenges, what's working, what's not, what else that they've tried. Having those strategic discussions, documenting them, Tim, and sharing them across the organization. You will get a lot of gemmed and good insights from those discussions. And so I do a lot of work with small, medium professional service firms, so they don't have the big budget to be, getting, market research firms and all of that involved. But it comes down to having those meaningful discussions with the decision makers and influencers. You will unpack and learn a lot of the key things as to what you need to deliver, how you need to deliver, how you need to promote and engage and interact with those clients and prospects. So having those discussions with your buyers, both current clients as well as prospective clients, because you want to get a market view, is very, very important, and it will give you a lot of key insights on how to move forward so you get the right value proposition. You're creating solutions that business buyers, business clients want to buy. You'll be promoting them in the right way. Your overarching go-to-market will be the right way. You'll know what you'll need to deliver from a customer success, service, and support point of view. So those meaningful discussions, which you need to have periodically, Tim, is very, very important. But they must be buyer-level discussions, not just user level. That's very, very critical, because you can miss out on significant opportunities if you're only talking to the user, the front end, the project analyst, the business analyst, to use an IT example. If you're not talking to the folks in the boardroom, you can seriously miss out, because we must deliver to the needs of those in the boardroom who have those strategic imperatives. We have to understand what they are so we can deliver, again, that advice, insights, and recommendations that they're seeking.
And when you say talking to the board, that's about making sure that you're talking in a business language. So, for example, hearing what if the finance director, he or she, says something, it's about then taking that out to the market rather than saying we've got a particular feature or function.
Yes, it's that as well, absolutely. But it's about making sure that you really understand, the senior leaders, those executive buyers, what are their priorities, and you're delivering to them. Because if you don't deliver those advice, insights, things that they're looking for, acting that as that advisor and partner, you can lose out to another organization if they don't know that you have those capabilities and you're able to provide those insights, those recommendations, and roadmap. Chances are you could lose to another organization who is delivering and demonstrating the ability to be that strategic advisor and partner. I got a client a year and a half ago because they lost out on a big opportunity because they were all focused on the user level, never engaging with the executives. And so when it came time for renewal, the executives went to another competitor because they felt they were the ones that were acting at that advisor partner level. So it's very important that you are interacting at both.
So in effect, I can see how your advice, insights, and recommendations, so your strategy basically is there to fit the go-to-market.
Yes, it's making sure it's a fit to go to market by making sure we target those that make the decision to buy. Because quite often, and particularly when you're dealing with like technical complex solutions, people get into the weeds around the technical capabilities and not recognizing and understanding, well, who actually makes the decision to buy and what are those broader strategic imperatives that they're working towards.
So whatever we do, whether we're in sales or marketing, excuse me, whatever we're doing in terms of understanding the strategy that we're putting together and then the tactics that we may put it together in terms of what we're doing with sales and marketing, we need to be thinking about advice, insight, and recommendation at all times.
Absolutely. And everyone needs to be working from a same viewpoint as to who are their target customers, who are the decision makers, and having an understanding around those key questions of who they are, what are their priorities, how they buy. All cross-functional groups, all teams need to have that aligned view of the customers and buyers and making sure they're working in harmony, in tandem to deliver the air and solutions that those clients and prospects are seeking.
Excellent. Michael, thank you so much for coming on and talking about the new playbook for B2B buyers. It's such an interesting subject. I find it very interesting the way that the buying process changed so much. And we are so empowered to just pick up our phones and search for stuff. I know I do it all the time, and I'm sure you do, and
Oh,
the people
absolutely.
watching this do as well.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Michael, where can people find you?
So again, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, as well as you can find me at my website, listeninnovategrow.com.
Listeninnovategrow.com.
Correct.
Excellent. Michael, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing that. And I hope you have a good evening.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you, Tim.